Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Taryn, the traveling trainer with GoTarryn Personal Training here in the greater Atlanta area, about to welcome for the very first time from Santan Valley, Arizona, Ms. Amber Boyd. Now before Amber joins today's show, I'd like to ask everyone out there, if you please be so kind as to like this video, leave us a comment, and share it with all of your friends and family out there. Now Amber also is at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona as an adjunct instructor and as a student, just like yours truly. That's right, today's going to feel kind of like a weird episode because it's going to be like the Twilight Zone. I'm interviewing myself almost. She's actually in my cohort, co-aligned to graduate with the same exact time in the fall of 2021 in pursuit of her PhD of psychology with an emphasis in sports psychology. And so it's going to be an amazing show today because I'm really intrigued and interested to interview her and kind of see what her perspective is, not only, as I mentioned, being a student at GCU, but everything else that she's doing. She personal trains. She's created the Physique brand, which we'll talk about, and she has an amazing recovery from a post-concussion story that she's going to be sharing with you as well. So all of this is going to be jam-packed in the next 30 minutes as we welcome Amber on today's GoTarryn TV episode. I'm super excited, and so we'll be having Amber joining us right here in just a few moments. And remember, with GoTarryn Personal Training, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and as I promised, all the way from Grand Canyon University, we have Amber Boyd online. Amber, how are you doing out there today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you, Amber, and it's great to meet you for the very first time here, face-to-face, as I mentioned. So, Amber, where in Arizona do you live at then? I don't think I asked you that.
So, I live in this little suburb of Phoenix. It's called Santan Valley. It's like a hole in the wall, really, but it's very far south and east, but it's becoming very developed out here.
That's neat. Excellent. And I know you already told me this last week, but I guess, before we got a chance to record, let's start at the very beginning, since this is the first time that we're talking face-to-face here on my weblog show. So maybe talk about a little bit, where you are from, where you grew up, and then we'll get to the point where we kind of move on to where we're at today, where we're in the same cohort here.
All right. So I grew up in a little town in Texas, so I'm a Texas native. Born and raised. For 18 years I lived there, and as soon as I graduated high school, I'm like, peace. I got out of there. I lived all over the place. I went to Colorado for a while, never really knew my place, I guess, and then I moved out here. I've been here for like 12 years now, and absolutely love it out here.
Excellent. That's good. That's excellent. And from what I recall, you said you've not been out to Atlanta, where I'm at, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, cool.
I say I live all over the place, but I really haven't ventured very far.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, I know we're going to get into physique a little bit and talk about, your history and fitness and obviously now with psychology. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video blog, this is the very first time I'm interviewing anyone else who's also a peer at Grand Canyon University. So I guess if you could tell the folks out there, because again, they don't know, what are you doing at Grand Canyon University? Because I know it's twofold, right? You're a student and a teacher.
I am. So I teach part-time as an adjunct over there at GCU in the College of Humanities and Social Science department. I teach basically sports psychology over there because that's what I majored in. That's my expertise. But I have also been contacted recently, like a couple weeks ago, by the exercise science department to teach a health promotion class. So I'm kind of excited about that over there at GCU, but I am a student too, and I am heading into some craziness in the next couple of weeks with my residency, but I'm studying performance psychology for my PhD.
That's right, and that's exactly what I am too. We're on the same exact course and path, obviously. And so I'm gonna ask you about your residency coming up, as I mentioned too. And I'm very curious, Amber, because you got me beat by a couple of weeks. You're going to be out there just a little bit before I am. But let's backtrack for a little bit. So, with sports psychology and, getting into fitness, because I've seen your YouTube channel, you're really into, fitness and health. Have you always been fitness minded? And, if so, what got you interested and sparked in health and wellness in the first place?
Great question. So I actually haven't always had that mindset. I was just, I guess, naturally fit for a while, and then I had babies, and it changed my body, and things weren't the way that they were supposed to be anymore, and I wasn't very happy with my body image after my second child. So I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to, just like everybody has their fitness goals, like, I'm going to do this year. And so I set out to reach my own goals. And as I started doing that, I took a look around me in the gym, and I was like, you know what? This whole personal training thing looks kind of fun. Let's see what it's all about. And so I kind of got my foot in the door with the gym here locally. And it's funny because now they still say, she isn't going to make it. They told me that. So like after I interviewed and I went into the gym, they were like, she's not going to make it as a trainer. But I became certified through NASM to be a trainer. I stayed at that gym for about 6 years. And throughout that course of time, I started doing specialty certs. So I got my corrective exercise specialist cert. And then from there, I kind of burn out, to be honest. Like it was so consuming. Like my life was just chaotic at the time. I was about to have my third child. And I became really aware of my body image. And, as a personal trainer, people were looking at me like, you have to be a certain way. And I went through anorexia. And that's posted on my YouTube channel. I'm very open about it. I talk about it a lot in my classes as well. But I was also dealing with an emotionally abusive relationship at the time. So, I had too much going on. I really couldn't focus on training anymore, and I burned out. So I stopped training for about 6 months.
Okay.
Like, that was about it. I'm like, I've got to get back into this thing and start training again. And so I started my own business out here, and I called it Physique. And I provided more than just a workout, though. It was about education and teaching everything that I knew, everything I knew I wanted to teach everybody else. So I got my other certifications during that time, my master trainer cert, my group personal training cert. I was featured in their magazine, has a magazine. I was featured in there because of all of my certifications. So that was kind of cool.
That is awesome. That is really, really good. I mean, that's amazing. And I really like the name Physique, too, the, premise of educating your clients, too, because that's something that's often lacking and missing in our industry. So I'm really impressed with that. And so all together now, how many years then have you been personal training pretty much off and on?
Oh, gosh. Well, ever since I came out here to Arizona, like that's really when it started. So 12 years.
That's excellent. Wow, that's great. And what do you enjoy most about personal training clients?
Right now, the psychology aspect.
It's funny you said that. Yeah, that's interesting. And as you mentioned, so you said this, I think that's what you got your master's degree in, correct?
Correct. So I have my master's of science in sport psychology. So Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's intriguing to me because I think, and I could be wrong, but fundamentally that might be a big piece of the picture that people often are missing, and as a personal trainer that you could provide that they need. Because I say this, I've had many clients who you could tell them as many times as you want how to work out and eat correctly, but something's missing and they're not doing it. Why is that? And that's kind of what I see a lot with the whole psychology of it. So that's really fascinating. Good for you. That's excellent. And you had mentioned about so 3 children. How old are your kids, Amber?
So I have a 21-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
Wow, that's great. That's awesome. I wouldn't have guessed that. That's really amazing. You've started very young.
I did, I
Very
did.
much.
And
Yeah.
so my oldest decided to hit me again when he was young. So I have I can't say the word. I always say my son's baby.
Oh,
I,
that's too funny.
I can't say the word. It's so.
You'll get there eventually one day. You know how to pronounce it. That's amazing, though, Amber. Wow, that's really incredible. Well, good for you. That is awesome. And so okay, so 2 boys and 1 girl. Did I have that right?
All boys.
Oh, all boys. I'm sorry.
All,
3 boys.
all boys, yeah.
Very exciting. Wow, how cool. That's got to be a lot of fun. Do they take after you with the fitness and the health as well? Are they interested in that?
Somewhat.
Okay. Yeah, everyone's different. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. It's so funny. My middle son is still in school, so
Oh, okay.
he is fully enthralled in sports.
Yep.
So,
That's the
um,
one with football?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. And then how about your youngest?
So he did do football for a few years and then decided it wasn't really for him, but he's really taken up with basketball right now. So
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Well,
he loves basketball. He even tried soccer and he's like, no, not for me.
yeah, no, no, that's good. That's really interesting. And, again, because that's great just to be able to lead by example. They've got to be proud of you. Because, again, we were talking about this before we were recording, but, we've already put in 1 year of effort into the PhD program. So I'm just really curious to ask you because I wanted to find out from your perspective, how long were you thinking of making the decision to pursue your PhD, and what finally was the trigger puller, that made you go ahead and jump in and do it?
Well, great question. So when I started my journey through my bachelor program,
Hmm.
um, I took one psychology course and I was hooked. I'm like, I've got to take as many elective. It had nothing to do with my major. I wanted to take every elective that I could, anything extra that I could psychology, because that became my passion very early on. And from that point, I knew that I wanted to earn my terminal degree. Like I knew at that point. Um, so it was just a stepping stone. Then my bachelor's was just a stepping stone into getting my master's, and then it was trying to find a program that best suited me, and what it had to offer. Like I was so torn for so long. Like, do I want to practice clinically and get my PsyD, or do I want to do like more of the research side and get my PhD? And I it started probably about 2 years ago when I really wanted to pursue this dream. I had already received my master's, and I was just kind of like, well, do I not? Well, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. And so with GCU, I had to take a statistic course, and I didn't have it under my belt with my master's that I currently had. So I was in the middle of taking my stats course so that I could get approved to go to GCU for my doctorate, and I ended up with a concussion, and it put everything on hold for a little over a year. And once I finally recovered and I was able to kind of get my head straight again, I started my stat program again. I finished it. I was accepted, and then here we are.
That's amazing, and same thing, Amber, by the way, with me. I needed to do the same thing as you had to do with the stats, and get that under my belt as well before I went ahead and did it. But you had referenced your concussion, and we'll definitely plug the documentary of your concussion journey is on your own YouTube channel, which I'm going to ask you about at the end of the video. But can you, I guess, for the benefit of everyone listening, talk us through the whole concussion ordeal? How did it happen? When did it happen? And all the who, what, and where surrounding it, too.
All right. Well, it's a long story. I think my documentary on YouTube is like an hour long. It's very extensive. It's kind of dark and a gruesome story, but like before I even talk about it, it really is the thing that was the catalyst to change in myself, and to being able to use it as that catalyst to help others. It's been an amazing journey. Like, I don't regret anything. I have no hard feelings about anything, because it's made me who I am today. But my injury happened in March, towards the end of March, 2 years ago. And I always, every time the date comes up, I'm like, oh, there's my anniversary. I call it my anniversary because, again, it's a way to celebrate who I am now. But I was out playing with some coworkers at another university that I was working with at the time. And it was kind of like our thing, our team building activity. We'd go out and we would play ultimate frisbee. And if anybody knows ultimate frisbee and the sport, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I was standing maybe a couple feet away from the guy that was throwing it at the time, and it went directly into my face. And these frisbees, they're not like, the ones you throw to your dogs. They have like this silicone hard thing on the bottom. So when it hit me, I started bleeding, and I was kind of like, oh, what just happened? I don't know.
Wow.
But I didn't start really seeing symptoms of concussion until a few days later when I tried to return back to work. So those symptoms were anything from just feeling confused. I was lost all the time. I couldn't complete sentences. I'm like, did I just say that? No, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was teaching online courses at the time, so I would finish a class, and then I would have to ask my students. I was like, did that make any sense? Because I don't know what I said.
Wow.
It was very difficult, and there were so many times that I didn't know who I was anymore, and that frustrated me. And it was the time that I was finally able to come to realization that, I think part of my frustration and my anger, I had so much anger. I was so mad at everyone all the time. Part of those were post-concussive symptoms, but a lot of it was with myself. It was like, this isn't who you are. People need to change around you. Like, everybody else needs to change, not you. But once I came to the realization that, no, I need to be happy with who I am now, because it changed everything about me. And once I came to that realization, everything got so much easier to recover and come out of that. So, yeah.
That's incredible, and the documentary is wonderful too, Amber. As I mentioned, have you been back to play ultimate frisbee since that happened?
No.
Yeah. Do you think you will, or no desire to do so?
I have no desire to play again. I will say though that I have always, ever since that accident, I always feared things coming at my face and being again, but. Just recently, so with my students at GCU, I do teach on ground. there. And so I'm in person with my students teaching sports psychology. We get out and we play games together. So we play beach volleyball.
Oh,
We,
cool.
yeah, we play our version of Ultimate Frisbee, which is not with a frisbee, but with like a kickball.
Hmm.
And it doesn't scare me anymore. I'm
That's
like,
great.
let's play. I got this.
That's awesome. Had you suffered a concussion previous to that ever, or any other kind of injury that was similar to that?
So I I didn't, but there was a time when we had played Ultimate Frisbee before, and I actually got tackled, like full on tackled by this big bodybuilder dude. And here I am.
Wow.
I'm like a stick, right? Reeling, plowing at me. And it wasn't like on purpose by any means, but I did hit my head, and I didn't put like two and two together, but that could have possibly made it worse when I actually had the concussion. So,
Yeah, you're right. And that's wonderful. You've been able to be so self-adjusted and, just again, since that trauma, because some people might not have made a recovery like you did, but I commend you for doing so. And I like that you're being able to share that. And like you said, with the documentary, other people who have gone through that, or if they get frustrated because they might have the same symptoms that you had, they could probably find some benefit from that. So I think that's great that you did that. And here you are now. So 2019, as I mentioned, you are on your way to residency. Literally, by the time this is recording, a couple days out. What are 5, 6, 7 words that come to your mind when I say that residency starts for you in a couple days?
oh my gosh.
Maybe some expletives in between there too, probably. Right. That
Yes.
so okay. So you start on May the 9th. Is that correct?
So the
Thursday, May.
online portion, yeah, on
Okay,
the,
and then you go in person Monday, May 20th.
yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you are ahead of me because I have barely looked at that folder, but I'm only a couple weeks behind you. So when we've got some, for people who are watching, there's some pre-assignments that you need to do. And we're not talking about just some easy cakewalk one day here, take care. We're talking about like some, I think, 10 strategic points,
Yeah.
acquiring 5 different empirical journal articles, and writing some annotated bibliographies on those and such. So I know you're going to be doing those, and you've got the folders downloaded with all of the materials that you need. So in preparation of this, and we talked about this before we were recording, but overall, I know there's a lot of emotions and such. But how do you feel being able to make it to this first year? I mean, that's a great milestone, really, when you look at it. You've made it through the first year with this program. So how do you feel about that?
So I feel pretty accomplished
Yeah.
because I didn't realize that it had been a year. You know, I'm just sitting here. I feel like sometimes just going through the motions, right? I'm like, okay, next class. Okay, next class. And now that the first residency is like here, it's like, oh wow, I did make it through a whole year. Well, okay. Like I like there's no turning back now, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's so cool because we've got the same counselor, Angelique, over at GCU, and as I mentioned too, since the beginning of this whole program, I think that it's important that we all become cheerleaders for each other, that we all push forward and support each other, and I think I know it's scary because as you mentioned, when we get to the year 3 mark and we get towards graduating, that you want to make sure that you have that support system, and I think that's really important too. And I think that we're going to definitely continue along with that because I think, as I mentioned this too, I really do believe that GCU wants us to succeed. It's in their best interest. They want to make sure that we, put forth our best effort and we're making a great impression. We're doing everything that we can. So what I guess in the last year, and this is a fully loaded question, but what would you find the most hardest or biggest challenge just in the first year of this doctoral program?
I think for me, it really has been the research side
Hmm.
because I still have symptoms of post concussion every
Hmm.
once in a while. Um, Sometimes if I'm sitting in front of the computer too long, I will start getting massive headaches for days, and I will start to lose my motivation because I get nauseated and I'm like, I don't want to sit in front of the computer anymore. Why do I need to do this? Or there have been courses that I feel don't coincide with what I'm trying to study, so uninteresting subjects makes it very difficult to stay motivated. So I'm like, why am I even doing this? And so I think that's really kind of been my struggle. But once I'm in my topic of interest and my passion behind what I'm studying, and working on that dissertation and all the whole process is just that is exciting to me. I read something and then I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. So yeah, the hardest part has really been just like sitting down, focusing for so long. Like you're having to do so much work.
You're right. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of writing. And speaking of research, we're talking about the big monster, the dissertation. And so what is your dissertation topic as of now, Amber?
So right now I'm looking at studying derogatory behaviors in adolescents, particularly in sports, and how they legitimize that behavior, and maybe looking at how possible ruminating factors are causing this behavior in the youth. So that's what I'm looking at now.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think that's great. And I think, as we mentioned, throughout our discussion questions, we've seen you've found a lot of really good information and resources on that already.
A ton. There's so,
Hmm.
but I've told you before too, it leads me down a rabbit hole.
You've said that several times. That's right. That's
That makes sense with this. Oh, but wait.
But that's good. I think that you're closing the gap, without question, as they like to say. Right now, is yours looking geared towards being a qualitative or a quantitative study, Amber?
Qualitative.
Okay, okay. And that's interesting because mine started out, I thought, as a quantitative. I think that it's leaning towards a qualitative as well, more of a phenomenal kind of study in particular. So, yeah, I feel like I'm interviewing myself here sometimes because we have so much in common. Part time, I'm an adjunct instructor at Georgia State, and, we're both in the same exact field. We're going to graduate theoretically on the same exact time frame. So this has been a lot of fun. A couple more questions before we let you go. I promised this 30 minutes, by the way, has flown by really quickly. Yeah, so I know that you did. By the way, your YouTube channel is fantastic, and we definitely have to plug that here in a minute. You mentioned that I saw you did a lot of the exercise videos, and they're wonderful. I think they're awesome. You've taken a break from that. Are you still going to be doing that or looking to resume those? Because I think they're wonderful. I think they're just awesome.
I think, yeah, no, I haven't done one in years. I want to say at least 2, maybe 3 years. But no, I have no time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I have no time. Being an adjunct, it's really kind of a full-time job for me. I live about an hour away from campus, so the drive itself is part of that job. So by the time I get there, do my work, and then come home, and then grade, and like that on top of school and taking care of kids, like I have too much going on right now. So yeah, I probably won't be doing one anytime soon.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah, but the perfect thing is you could do it at your own pace. I encourage you to do it, like if you can, because I think they're great. I really like those. And then now we mentioned too, you get a break from teaching because it's the summer. So are you going to have any more time at all? I mean, I know you're very busy, but if there is extra time, what do you plan on doing during the summer with the hours you're not going to be teaching then?
Well, so I am also a board member for the Southeast Pop Warner League out here. It's a football team with the little guys, and I've been the business manager for our particular team for the past 2 years, and I absolutely love it. Those kids are my kids, and so here I am, third year into it. I'm still on the board. I do all this volunteer stuff, and my son's not even playing. So, so that's kind of what's taken up most of the rest of my summer. It's going to continue in the fall when they actually play ball, but um, that's kind of the stuff I do on the side. I absolutely love it though.
That's awesome. Excellent. And then what about your own workouts too? What do those look like typically? I know you run a lot because you talked about the trails out there, which I'm sure are beautiful, but what do your workout routines look like generally these days?
That's basically it. I'm a trail runner. I
Hmm.
love to hike. I am all up for finding new places to hike, even if I have to travel. It's um, invigorating to me. I absolutely love getting up there and just like taking it all in. It's a way to clear my head too. But I usually don't hit a gym. I usually just kind of stick to my trail running and do my own thing.
Good, excellent. Well, Amber, again, as I mentioned, this has been so much fun, and this was exciting, and I'm so happy that we finally got to connect like this and learn more about you. And I can't wait to do the next one with you like this as well. And I think that we need to schedule one of these post first residency. That way we could see how it went. So that'll be good. I'll be curious to see how you're gonna do great. We're both gonna knock this out of the park. I have a feeling of that. I'm willing to bet on that as well too. So a few more pieces of questions for you, and then we'll get going here. But if there's any contact info you want to give, like your email or any kind of social media, anything like that you want to provide for anybody watching, if they have any questions, for certainly your YouTube channel, for sure. Let's plug that as well. Now's the time. Anything you want to give out, we'll plug that on the screen too when we fade to black.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. My physique page is still running up on Facebook and on Instagram. Not on Twitter so much, but it's at physique with the underscore, not a hyphen there in between the ED. So, yeah, if you have any questions. I mean, I still answer questions. I still get on there. I'm just not posting videos anymore.
And we won't ask you to post 150 characters or words rather on your DQs too for anybody that contacting Amber, right? They don't. At least they don't need to reference any journal articles too, right?
No, no, keep it informal, please.
Right. Oh, and your YouTube channel, please, too, Amber. The
Oh yeah,
channel.
my YouTube channel. I think it is Amber in Kevin and the number one.
Perfect. Okay, great. We'll put that on the website link too. Amber, again, I enjoyed this so much. So this is great. Good luck at residency. And as I promised, I will be calling you and checking in to see how everything's going. I'll be your cheerleader in the corner too. So you're going to get through this. We're going to get an A for that class.
Right, we will get through this, not just me.
Absolutely. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, but ladies first, though. So. All right, Amber. Well, thank you again. And for the folks watching, here comes Physique contact info right now and Amber's YouTube channel as well. We'll see you, Amber.
Bye.